I'm Josh Gosser.
And I'm Jordan Taylor. Welcome to A Shot of Whiskey Podcast, Season 2, Episode 5. Let's get it. All right, welcome back, all Badger fans, man. Shot of Whiskey Podcast brought to you by the good folks at Beyond the Big Ten. We are here with a very special guest this week. Oh, my bad. Make sure you go check us out on all social media platforms, at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you get your socials, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and you know the deal. Very special episode for you this week. We got the one and only Coach Greg Gard, as Brett Valentine used to say, man. He thinks you're country because you're from Cobb, Wisconsin, man. So that's how he pronounces your name. But Coach, appreciate you joining us. Congrats on the W last night.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. Good to see you guys.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. We'll jump right in, man. Last night, I want to start here because I was at practice with you guys in the summer. You were so gracious to have me and let me walk around and be annoying for a while. You seemed like you made an emphasis on kind of not overhauling the offense, but pace seemed to be a point of emphasis in the summertime. And they did make note that this is the fastest Badger pace since the 93-94 Michael Finley led Badgers. So can you just dive into that, maybe what goes in to the drilling and the thought process behind that?
Yeah, I think I didn't realize it went back to 93, 94, Jordan. I thought some of the teams you guys played on were pretty quick too. But I think more than pace, and I've said all along, pace really gets overblown. It's efficiency, and I think the biggest thing with this group is we're much more efficient than we were a year ago. I think we've gone from 140th in the country to top 15. And we fluctuated into the top 10 at times just from an efficiency standpoint. And that, when you're scoring, it makes it look like you're playing with a little more pace. We are, to a degree. But I think when you have positive results, it gives maybe a shine to it that is more appealing. But I get more concentrated on efficiency and how we are doing on our possessions. And what I found is we're having many less empty possessions, and part of that's schematically what we've changed and what we're flowing into in transition. Part of it's the level of talent we have and the players we have. You can't do it without good players, but I think it's a combination of those two things of really making sure we don't have as many empty possessions, scoring droughts, things like that. We're at the foul line much more than we were a year ago, and our better teams have always shot a lot of throws, and this team has taken on that characteristic too.
One thing that you mentioned, the players and free throws, one thing that really stands out to me watching some of the games this year, specifically last night, is the way that you guys attacked the rim this year. Slashing is, I think, maybe more aggressively with multiple guys than I can remember. Maybe even more so with the Final Four teams with Sam and Nigel, like the way John Blackwell attacks the rim and AJ Storr and Chucky gets in the paint. And then obviously you have Stephen Crowell and Tyler on the block. It seems that's probably what stands out more to me than any other Wisconsin team that I've watched or been a part of.
Yeah, I mean, some of it is the pieces. You mentioned John and AJ, obviously the newcomers that have really added that dynamic to us. And I think some of the scheme that we've changed a little bit and what we're doing with our bigs of running them to the rim and ball screens, that we've and Tyler being kind of a hybrid four, with his ability to really put the ball on the floor and bring it in transition, and play out of the stuff in transition, flowing into what we do in the continuity of the ball screens based stuff, allows us to come with a lot of different weapons. And I think we still got guys that I want to get involved and can help us as we go forward, because we're going to continue to need the depth, and the depth has been, a big part of our success so far. But you're right about just having guys that can really attack, and the spacing and the emphasis and things that we're asking these guys to do has also changed, and it fits your personnel. I think you always, as an offensive group, you try to adjust and adapt based on the pieces that you have and the people that you have, and we felt that this fit this group pretty well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead, Josh.
Well, yeah, I guess, Coach, you brought it up. AJ and John Blackwell. Are you surprised with the quick learning curve from those guys, those newcomers. I mean, AJ obviously transfer, and Jon, and even Nolan Winter, and specifically, I love John Blackwell, the way he's been able to play. But obviously, these guys, prior to them getting here, you pretty much brought back your entire starting lineup, so you don't see new guys getting in the mix and up to speed as quickly as those guys. So were you surprised at all by that?
Yeah, probably more surprised by the ascension of Jon than AJ, even though AJ may be our most improved player over the last 2 months. I thought Jon would be a good defender. I didn't know how long it would take him, but his other parts of his game have completely exceeded what my anticipation or thoughts were. I saw a lot of good things in AAU and in high school, but the thing that jumped out with him in high school and AAU was just his defensive awareness, and you could tell his IQ on that end of the floor was really good. I didn't know how he would handle the transition physically. He's done that really well. He's pretty strong for a freshman, and only going to get stronger. But just the ability, just knows how to play, makes the right play, competes. That's probably the biggest thing with the two freshmen, Nolan and Jon, is they just compete. Not every possession's perfect, but man, they play hard. They're aggressive. They want to win. They don't care who gets the accolades. They just want to be a part of a winning team, and it's helped. We haven't had a lot of freshmen. You two guys played as freshmen, but it's not always been the case. And I'm probably a little more liberal with that, and know I need to get guys in to get them some experience and let them kind of figure it out. And those two guys have really grabbed their opportunities and done well.
Yeah, it definitely does a lot for a freshman's confidence when you're not getting pulled out for fouling. That's all. No shade, but it's you, you mentioned rolling the bigs to the rim. That again, that's another thing that stood out to me. Has that actually been? Is that difficult to do considering that Steven Crowell is shooting 69% from three right now, which is I think 11 to 16. So
Yeah.
is it hard for him and for you guys to tell him to roll to the basket when he's shooting such a high percentage? Do you want him to shoot more threes or?
No, I want him on the rim because he is such a load at 7 feet, 250. I mean, his best is with his back to the basket and on the block. He's a handful. I mean, he's really good with both hands. His footwork is really good. He shoots a free throw line well. He's got to get there more. But no, I want him on the rim. And the other thing is offensive rebounding. We've rebounded the ball a lot more aggressively this year on the offensive end, maybe more so than ever. And I think a large part of it is the bigs are coming at, even if we told the guards or tell the guards at times, just throw it up on the board. And we know we've got a big coming behind you on the roll to go get it. So just get the thing up on the glass, get it on the rim, let the bigs clean it up. And I think that force towards the rim has been important and helpful for them and on the offensive glass, so to speak, because they're coming at it. And I think too, you're trying to not always have the wrestling match in the post with backing guys down. And I think it's been better for Tyler not have to get into those wrestling matches and those muscle contests that catch the ball on the run to the rim facing and then use your skill set. And both of them are really good passers. So we've done some short roll stuff too and stopped them at the nail at times, depending on how the ball screens get guarded. And then let them make decisions and plays from there. So it's been a good combination to, we've done some of that continuity ball screen in the past, but bringing Kirk on staff this fall, I think with what he's played in internationally and the experience he's had, he had been where I wanted to kind of take this and watching. You're always trying to chase that proverbial rabbit, so to speak, offensively and becoming more efficient. And this has really helped up our efficiency.
Yeah, and from a recruiting standpoint, I think it's important for people to hear that recruiting and just from an overall aesthetic, those little things that people might not realize are kind of, I guess, how Wisconsin basketball is transforming into the new age style or whatever you want to call it, which I think is a cool thing to see as well. But then also just tactically as a guard, things that does, if you know a big is coming for offensive rebound, I think you have a lot more confidence going up in traffic trying to finish if you know, somebody might say that Mike Conley, Greg Oden effect kind of from back in the day.
Right.
So I think that's cool to see. But you mentioned also talk about AJ Storr, him being the most improved player over the last 2 months. Because I think a lot of people were kind of open their eyes at that, because he's been solid the whole year, and he's only shooting 30% from three. In my opinion, that's probably because of some of the shot selection, because he can shoot the ball. But just talk about what you've seen out of him over the last 2 months.
Well, I think the first thing was defensive awareness and understanding concepts, understanding how all the pieces fit together, the four other defenders with him on the floor, how important help side gaps when you can't same side help, knowing personnel, knowing when to run under screens, when we chase over. That's kind of scouting report specific. The switching that we do, how do you do it, how aggressively you need to do it. Just so many things from a defensive concept standpoint that I think he had never had taught to him before. So that's been, a lot of he's relied on athletic ability. And when you combine some solid concepts with the ability, then you've got a chance. I think he can be a phenomenal defensive player as he continues to grow because of his size, strength, mobility, obviously athletic. He can make up for plays much like Johnny did. Johnny would maybe make a mistake, but could recover so well, block a shot, recover for a steal. So for AJ defensively, it's been all those awareness and alertness, and hey, you got to pay attention the whole possession. So he's come a long ways. If I pulled out tape from October to compare it to now, we've seen a drastic improvement. And then offensively, it's just about being more efficient, and taking better shots. And you mentioned some of the threes. And I got to there's a fine line there as a coach. I don't want to bridle him too much, so to speak. I gotta let a thoroughbred go play and let him, because he has the ability to knock some of those down. But it's been the attacking off the dribble of getting in there when you don't have daylight to the rim. You got to I tell him, get your landing gear down, play off 2 feet, get in there, get fouled, because he shoots the line really well. And you just give yourself a better chance to make the basket rather than jumping sideways or falling down or those things. And he's slowly gotten better at that. I still want him. We posted him a little bit last night. I think he can be a pretty dangerous weapon on the block too, because of his size and his quickness, and he just overpowers people. So I said last night after the game in the press conference, the scary thing is he doesn't even realize how good he can be and how much more he can grow and how much more potential he has. And he's done some dynamic things for us. But I see all the potential of the things that he can do better. And I think that's going to make him a much better player as he continues to go forward.
Where does AJ rank in terms of athleticism of any guy you coached? He's got to be up there.
Yeah, he is. I mean,
after JP.
Guys are different. There's the vertical athleticism and then there's the horizontal athleticism. Khalil Iverson was pretty athletic. He could play above the rim. Obviously, Tucker could play above the rim.
Gosser.
Gosser on the really good days with nobody else in the gym. So there hasn't been, we haven't had a ton of them. And then, like I said, though, it's when you combine, I think, how we play and with that ability, then you have a chance to have a really dynamic player. And as he continues to just figure it out and grow and trust his teammates, and they trust him. And that's the neat thing I saw right back in June when he came here, that our older guys, specifically Chucky, took him under their wing and really helped him along, because there was this pretty steep learning curve, and there's been some rough moments for AJ on the practice court and in huddles and games and things like that. And you just you got to go through it. And he's been so receptive, so coachable. He's been awesome to coach. He's got that smile all the time. It's hard to get him to frown, even as much as I come at him at times. But he's really been a huge asset to this team.
That's got to be exciting for fans to hear, knowing your leading scorer still has has so much way to go. And also, I'm glad you mentioned the athleticism part, because Josh, honestly, don't sell yourself short. Because I would you say Josh is one of the better athletes you've had just in terms of movement all around, being length and being
Horizontally, yeah.
side to side. And
Everybody thinks athleticism is how high you can peak above the rim, but there's there's hand-eye coordination, the horizontal movement, is extremely important. One of the better athletes, Tyler Wall is a really good athlete. People don't understand. I mean, he doesn't have maybe above the rim highlight plays, but his vertical or his horizontal movement, Chucky's horizontal movement, how quick they can change direction. And Josh was much like that too. I think you, Jordan, were a little better athlete and people gave you credit for. So there's a lot of ways to measure athleticism. And sometimes Nolan Winter is a really good athlete for 7 feet, and he's just scratching the surface of where he will be in his career. So there's a lot of different ways to measure it other than catching lobs off a backboard in transition.
That's a good way, though.
That was a great segue. But before my athleticism, I just have short arms. I have a negative wingspan, so I got T-Rex arms, man. So we've touched on. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But give us your thoughts, man, on the. I got a lot of thoughts. I'm sure Josh does too. When Chucky gets the steal and passes up the wide open layup to go off glass to AJ Storr. Give us your real time thoughts on that play, because that's a highlight reel. They might have to put that up on the wall in the Kohl Center, man.
Yeah, I knew it was coming because I saw Chucky look back as he was coming kind of across half court and right in front of me. And I saw AJ coming, and I'm like, he's really going to do it.
Yeah, they've been playing that for months since he got on campus.
Second time. I think the next play he could have done it again, but
I thought he was going to. I thought he got the N1. I thought he was going to do it again.
Yeah. So I'm not surprised by it. I guess I wasn't surprised. I was telling Josh off air before you jumped on here that AJ made a play the day before in practice, caught a lob from Tyler from half court that was way better than anything we saw last night. Man, it was unbelievable how he went up with one hand and caught it and finished it. But those are the exciting plays. As long as you get the 2 points, that's the old your head coach coming out in me. We get the 2 points. Yeah, it was pretty gutsy to do it in a 6-point game. Man. But hey, you gotta, like I said, you gotta let players play and be aggressive and have some fun with it, and they did that.
Yeah. My reaction, I was pissed. I tweeted about it. I was pissed off. They showed the replay a couple times, and there's like at least 25 people behind the basket just smiling and clapping. I'm like, yo, you got to stand up. Like, how you not stand up for that? Like, what's wrong with y'all?
Probably just woke them up. It probably I just woke up. Whoa, what happened?
That's how my dad be watching games. Oh, that's crazy. You got one, Josh?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, Coach, you talked about AJ's, growth defensively and how much he's improved. I guess elephant in the room here. Another player on your team that you'd like to see, more of that from, Conor Sean, who hasn't gotten on the court much.
Right.
What are you seeing from him where he can take that step? And obviously, Jordan and I have talked about it. It's like, at the end of the day, you only got so many minutes for your team. And with the emergence of John Blackwell, with Max doing a great job, Chucky, there's only so many minutes. But what can Conor do to take that next step? And I'm assuming it's defensively and some of those areas that he can improve on. But what are you seeing, and do you see how this playing out the next few months?
Yeah, I think there's a multitude of things, and Conor's working on it. One, I think, is conditioning, and that's gotten better, so he can play and compete in longer stretches, and playing physically. You guys know you have to play this game physical. Specifically on the defensive end. And the other thing is the level of competition has increased immensely, and I'm playing 9-10 guys. That tells you it's probably more of a credit to the other guys that have come in and taken minutes. Right. And you're right. I only have 200 minutes to disperse amongst X number of players. So, it's a credit to, I have nobody playing more than 30 minutes a game. Chucky's at 30. So it's not like we're heavy loading our first wave. But the emergence of John, AJ, you mentioned Max, all those guys that we've talked about, Kamari McGee has given us some good minutes. So, yeah, I think we're going to need Conor. He's got to continue to grow. I think he's gotten better here, and he's practiced better. Yeah, I didn't feel he practiced well early in the year. And usually when you don't practice well, the games aren't going to come for you. Just not going to happen for you in the game. So I think his ability to compete, and I put him on the scout team and platoon him back and forth now just to get him more reps. So he has no downtime in practice. So that has really helped him, I think, get back into a flow and get a competitive edge to him that he had a year ago that for some reason, getting hurt didn't help. That set him back a little bit. And then as he was trying to find his way back, here comes AJ Storr and John Blackwell getting a lot of minutes. And that's, as I told them last night, told the media too, it's a blessing and curse to have a really deep team, because Conor's not the only one I want to play. Marcus Ilver has practiced really well here lately. He's become way more than just a 3-point shooter. He's playing with force at the rim. And so, there you're looking at, when you throw McGee into the mix, you're looking at, 10, 11 guys. And when you're facing, lighter competition, it's a little easier to play a lot more guys. But as the price of poker, so to speak, goes up, the rotation by and large is going to shrink a little bit. But we're going to need Conor. I want to get Marcus in the mix. Isaac Lindsey's done some good things too. Damn. But, it's the blessing of, however you look at it, of having a really deep team. And the guys in front of him, like, where do you get the minutes from? And that's been the puzzle I've tried to put together, and the quandary I've been faced with is I want to get these guys minutes, but where? So it's a good problem to have.
That's well, first of all, speaking of getting guys minutes, if we don't get Isaac Gard some minutes, I'm starting a burner account, that a hate Gard burner account, man. As you know, it's going to be me too. So
that's Mark Vanderwettering's fault. On the schedule.
But no, is it more difficult? Like last year, obviously, it's probably less talent. Like one shout out guys like Isaac Lindsey, who gave good minutes last year on a less talented team. As a coach, is it more difficult having a less talented team and trying to coach them up to the level, or trying to incorporate a super deep team and bring and get everybody involved on a super deep team? I know they're different challenges, but is it one harder than the other, or what's your thoughts on that?
A lot easier than that. Yeah. Yeah. And having a very deep, talented roster is a good problem. I'll take that problem over, and I think not only we have an influx and infusion of talent, but we have experience too. I think you got to credit the guys that are back, that they came back in today's world of jumping the transfer portal and unrestricted free agency, that retention was the number one goal for the off season, and guys got better. It wasn't only come back, it was come back and we have to get better. And having a healthy Tyler Wall is obviously important. Steve Crowell's better. I mean, we've talked through the guys that run out there at the start of the game, but having those guys back and leaning and learning on the experience that they got from a year ago, being in so many close games. We're 1 or 2 wins away from being in the NCAA tournament, and everybody's like, okay, you're rolling as normal. So, but I think we've learned a lot from that, and we've grown a lot from that. And you guys know, you played on older teams, and the challenge of get old, stay old, which is always our formula for 20 plus years, is harder to do in today's world. So, it's a credit to those guys that came back, and then obviously how they've accepted and embraced the newcomers, and how the newcomers have, really respected the traditions and expectations of the program, and have all fit in really well.
Yeah. It feels to me too that this team has a much higher ceiling to get to too. I was just looking at the stats a little earlier today, and we really only have one player shooting above 30% from three. Obviously Crowell, I'm taking Crowell out of it. He's taking like one a game, but John Blackwell's really the only one. Everybody else is 28%, 29%. I think those guys are better shooters than that. So it feels like we can even become a better team offensively. You talked about our good efficiency, but it feels like we have another level to get to on top of, AJ continuing to learn defensively and improve that way. So I'm assuming those guys are better shooters than that, and that's going to come too.
And potentially your best shooter still working his way in the lineup.
Exactly.
We haven't had to rely on a high volume of threes. I think we took 16 last night. And teams are – it's a little bit of pick your poison with us too. I mean, if you're really going to take away our threes, okay, we're going to throw it to two big guys inside, and then we're going to drive you too. So it's, I think, having that balance and the ability to get to the free throw line has really been the game changer. I mean, we're there almost 25 times a game.
And converting them.
Yeah, and converting them. Tyler's ascension to, he goes 11 for 13. Last night he gets, 19 points on 6 shots. So, he got fouled a lot. So that's, I think just that probably has been the biggest game changer for us, is that ability to attack. And part of that comes in transition. We've scored more in the open court and have the ability to do that. And that's from let your defense create some offense a little bit too. So it's a balance. Yeah, and you'd always love to shoot it better from 3 but I like, if you're gonna pick one or the other over the other, offensive rebounding and getting to the foul line is way more sustainable over the course of a season than shooting 40% from 3. We'll have the nights where we shoot it really well, and we'll have to shoot it well, but to depend wholeheartedly on the 3 is a little risky. I like the fact that we have a lot of options that can get to the rim.
Yep. 1,000%. I want to talk about before we do, we normally do a segment on here, do 2 things you like and 2 things you don't like. So actually let's jump into that first. Just from the game last night specifically, just give us 2 things that you saw. You mentioned LaFonso Ellis, you didn't like much about the first, or much of anything about the first half. So give me 2 things that you liked and 2 things that you did not like from yesterday's game. And then Josh, you go too.
For me or from Josh?
For you, and then Josh will go. Yeah.
We didn't take care of the ball. I thought we were sloppy at times, specifically in the first half. We had 8 turnovers. That's about our game average, or usually what we do. And actually, we gave up 32 points in the first half on 35 possessions, but it didn't feel like that. It felt like we were loose defensively.
Mm-hmm.
But so actually, numbers wise, we were better in the first half than we were in the second half. From a defensive standpoint. Now, offensively, the second half, we blew the roof off. We were like almost 1-4 in our points per possession. So sometimes the feel of a game doesn't always – like I mentioned to you guys earlier, I just never felt like we had our footing defensively last night until the back half of the second half. I just felt like it's like when you go fishing and you catch one, Jordan, and you reel it into the boat, and you got it up over the boat, and then you're going to take it off, and it wiggles off the hook, and it's flopping around the boat, and you're trying to grab it, and it flops away from you, and it's slimy and slick, and you can't get it. You grab it, and it slips out of your hands, and it's bouncing around the bottom of the boat. You ever had that happen, Jordan?
Never been fishing in my life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've never been fishing, but I'm with you though. I'm with you on the analogy.
Fish keeps getting out of we could never grab it until the latter part. Like I said, the back half of the second half, I felt we settled in a little bit better defensively.
Okay.
So that's one thing, right?
Yep.
So turnovers in the defense, I thought we just never we didn't grab control of it. We didn't control the game with our defensive, from our defensive standpoint. What I liked, ability to get to the free throw line. Obviously that was big. And then I think the second thing is just how we finally got our footing the back half of the last 10 minutes. I thought we were much sounder defensively, and that's a credit to Iowa. It's maybe a little due to us not playing for 10, 11 days. It just took us a little bit to, realize this isn't practice. But it's all in all, any win in this league is a good win, and you don't frown upon it. You just perform, learn from it, and move on.
Facts.
We could have had 4 turnovers, and that would have been something you didn't like. So, I mean, no matter what, that's going to be a topic. But
what we had it was 8, right? In the first, how many in the first half? 8, right?
8, yeah, 8, and then 5 in the second.
Okay,
it was
Josh,
turnovers that we step out of bounds twice.
Yeah.
Right.
We throw it away off a double team in the post. We try to make the home run pass instead of a simple pass. So
Chucky dribbled off his foot. Yeah, some of those.
Yeah, Chucky dribbled off his foot. So there was just some unforced things that maybe were to do to little first time seeing live bullets in a couple weeks.
Yeah, you get to the line 35 times compared to 16. That alone is going to be a good thing. And I think getting Cricky in foul trouble, the best player, as somebody who had to guard the other team's best player a lot, that's what you always try to do, is get him out of a rhythm. And sometimes getting him a scorer out of a rhythm is by getting him on the bench and getting him a little uncomfortable, foul trouble. So I think that was a huge part of the game early on, was getting him in foul trouble, getting him only playing 20 minutes. I think it was a good thing. And I think Gard, you hit the rest of it.
Yeah, I think we did a better job on Sanford the second half. He goes 3 for 6, and he only gets one shot off the second half.
Yeah.
So a much better job. We didn't lose him. John lost him a couple times. Freshman mistake of helping too much off a really good shooter. You realize you kind of trash the defensive rules when it comes to guarding really good shooters. You aren't leaving him. You have almost assigned a no help clause.
Do you have a go-to defender, Gardo, in a guard? It feels like Blackwell, Max, Chucky. I mean, because Tony Perkins, had a pretty good game, but I'm just wondering if it's a rotation of who you're going to put on a guy, if it's matchups.
3, yeah, it's those 3 typically. Usually Max gets the, if it's a primary dominant ball handler, it'll be Chucky. If it's a flying off screens guy, it'll be Max to start, and then John can obviously do both. Kamari can get up into the ball. Perkins hit some tough 2s, and then he also played some bully ball too. He went downhill on us a few times, especially in transition there late, was we had a lead. When they kind of opened the side of the floor up, we let him get to the open side too easily and too much.
Yeah, maybe lost him a couple of times in 3. But I actually one of my favorite plays of the game, I think it was maybe an 8-point game, and they had a ATO. They were trying to post Perkins up, and John played post defense for about 15 to 20 seconds and didn't let him catch it and disrupted the whole play, which was super impressive to me. And that was kind of the proverbial nail in the coffin from a spectator standpoint. Got to stop, came down, scored. But I actually thought as a fan now and alum, I thought the tie game with 8 turnovers was very exciting to me, because it was a clear nod to jump on the live line at -1.5 and make some free money, So that was absolutely
stealing at that point.
Oh yeah, you can't hear that. Yeah. We have a new sponsor. But anyway,
the world has changed, guys.
Yeah, we got new sponsors, man. New sponsors. Last thing we want to talk about before we let you go is that 3-game stretch of Marquette, Michigan State, and Arizona, which was 2-1. And from a spectator alum standpoint, I thought me and Josh both were very, very impressed. Specifically, my one question about that is, did the Arizona game, did you think that maybe fatigue from the other 2 games set in? Or what did you see out of that game that needs to be improved upon? Because it was kind of a buzzsaw type game.
Yeah, and it really was about a minute 50 of a buzzsaw, because it went from 31-26 to 41-26 in about a minute 40. And I think the week did catch us a little bit, and it's quasi an excuse. But I also, obviously when you lose games, you watch the tape about 10 times, and when you win it, you watch it once. But so many shots we had. We settled for too many jump shots. We took more long 2s than we had taken prior to and since. And that's a credit to Arizona of how they guarded us. But I thought that and how many shots hit front rim. And you guys know, when you get a little gassed, you start giving in on shots and just taking what's the easiest, and you start being short. And I thought we were short a lot. And I thought we looked a step slow. We were late on some things. It's a part they're really good, and part I think was some of it. Us making mistakes and shooting ourselves in the foot that gave them momentum. Larson hitting 3s, which he hadn't done. Changed what we had to do a little bit defensively, and by the time they got a lead and got some momentum, it was hard to dig out of that hole.
Absolutely. Josh, you got anything?
That was a payback game for them too.
Man,
payback for many years ago.
So. Had them come back here next year. So
That'll be a fun one.
No, definitely a heck of a run so far. Let me double check. The record right now is sitting at, Josh, you know it? Just had it up.
Something in 3.
10-3 and first in the Big Ten.
There's
Just so
0
you
and
know.
0, Jordan. Right, Coach? Going to the next one?
You got it.
Yeah.
Nah.
Jordan.
Nah. Nope. Nope, I'm off that. Definitely off
Coach,
that.
what's it like having Isaac part of the team?
It's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, it just Josh, you know, you got little kids running around. Jordan, not yet, but probably the
Jordan
day.
is a little one running around. Yeah.
You never know. Yo Gav in Israel. You never know. Federica in Italy.
But yeah, it's awesome. You know, you in this profession, there's a lot of sacrifices that are made that your families make over the course of 35 years of being in this. And you know, it's just an opportunity to make up for maybe some lost time that maybe I missed events of his here and there. I tried to make as many as I could, but you know, running around chasing guys like you, trying to convince you guys to come to Wisconsin. You know, you can't. We didn't have Zoom back then, so I couldn't Zoom you guys to, you know, convince you we had to show up actually at the games and stuff and run around Benilde and Port Washington, and so it's been awesome. He's fit right in. He's been great. You know, he's just one of the guys, and you know, I got to stop myself and slow down and enjoy it each day when I walk into practice, because I know it won't last forever. You know, he'll run out of eligibility here, and you know, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity that when I talked about doing it 2 years ago, I sat down with my staff and I was questioning whether I should do it, and they all looked at me like I was crazy. Like you're an absolute fool if you don't do it. This is a once in a lifetime chance to have him on the team, and you know, and he's gotten better. You know, he's gotten. You know, Josh, your buddy Chris Siebert, wishes he was as big as he is now. Amazing what eating all the time in a weight room will do for somebody, and he's grown. And I wanted
he
to
looks
redshirt.
exactly like Brett Valentine, and the same number and everything. Can he shoot it like Brett yet?
Pretty well. Yeah, that ball comes out of his hands pretty clean. Yeah,
let it fly. Yeah,
grown a little bit. I wanted to redshirt him when he was in kindergarten because he's young for his kid, but his mom had better ideas. The educator in the family said no, he's ready for kindergarten, so he's going. But
I won that battle in my family. I got a red shirt going on right now.
Yeah.
Do you get any trouble at home for not getting Isaac more minutes?
No.
Not yet. You're gonna keep getting better. You're gonna hear about it.
No, she's like Al Davis. She's like, just win, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
Understands the world that we live in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope, man. That's super dope. But that's all we got for you, Coach Gard. Appreciate you joining us. Anybody listening, we appreciate you checking us out. But make sure to go tune in on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you get your podcasts, and check out all the socials, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok with the handle at Beyond the Big Ten. I am Jordan Taylor. That's Josh Gasser. Until next time, Josh Gasser. Until next time, make sure you go check out all the Badger games and keep supporting, man.